Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have a good looking puzzle here. This one is called Thermo Fight by Mael. Let's see, we've got a couple of thermos here. I guess they're doing battle. Maybe cross swords, that's the kind of theme it looks like here. So let's just jump into our rules and then let's get started on this thing. So first off, we have Sudoku, so normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each. Basic Sudoku. Then we have slow thermos. So digits along the thermometer must increase or stay the same from the bulb to the tip. So unlike a typical thermo where you'd have to increase each digit, on a slow thermo, you can increase or stay the same. You just cannot go lower. So if this was a 1, let's say you could put another 1 here and then continue up and repeat digits as allows, if it is allowed by other Sudoku rules. Then we have the Kropki dots. So digits and cells struck by a black dot have a 1:2 ratio. So any of these black dot ones here, whatever this digit is here, it just means that this one is half or double of the other one. Then we have digits and cells struck by a white dot are consecutive. We got a couple of those lying about. These two digits are consecutive. They're just difference of 1. And then we have XV-Dominos. So cells struck by an X sum to 10. These two add up to 10. Cells separated by a V sum to 5. These do add up to 5. And then not all X's and V's are necessarily given, so there's no negative constraint, as it very aptly points out. So those are our rules. Nothing too off the wall. The slow thermo, of course, is a little bit different than the normal thermo rule, but we've encountered this one before, and it's usually quite fun to work with. So with all that said, the link is in the description below if you wish to play along, and let's jump into this thing and see if we can get it figured out. So normally I would just jump right into our thermos because they're not massively long. They do have a little bit of length to them, but because of the fact that they are slow thermos, I don't know that we're going to have quite as much. Well, actually, let's look somewhere else, and this will be a better start because I think we have a relationship here in this central region. So what I'm looking at is this V clue. So we know there's only 2 ways to make a V, or 5, we should say, in 2 cells, either 4, 1, or 2, 3. So let's just put those in. Now, what does that say about this next clue, the cell? Because it's actually attached to an X. So therefore, these 2 digits must add up to 10. So this has to be 6, 7, 8, or 9. Obviously, 4 with 6, 8, or 3 with 7, 2 with 8, 1 with 9. Now, if we can obviously reduce what can actually go in here. This can't be a 9 because 10, 11, 12 doesn't work. 8 doesn't work. 9, 10, 11. And 7 could work. So we can't rule out. Well, actually, we can rule out the 7. Because if we think about it in terms of how it affects this thermo, if we were to put a 7 here, we'd have to do 8, 9, and then another 9. But if we've already put an 8 here, this thermo would also have to have a 9 on it. So 7 doesn't work. So this is 6. This becomes 4. This becomes 1. Therefore, we know that this has to be a 1 because we have to have either increasing or the same digit along the thermo so nothing can be less than 1. So therefore, it must be a 1. And then we'll kick into that with a 9 here. Now, we said this can't be 8, so we're going to have to put a 7 here. And these are going to end up being an 8-9 pair. And one of them is going to be 9, which means one of them is going to be 9 here. So one of them is going to have to be, the other one is going to have to be 8 with a copy to 8. So these have to be from 8 and 9 as well. And the 9 actually here is going to determine that. So we can just put them in. That 9 forces a 9. This 8 now cannot be the 9 like we just said because of this, so therefore it has to be an 8. Okay, so we got moving on that one quite quickly. Now the question's going to be, where do we go from here? Because this digit here could be lots of things. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, so it doesn't seem too advantageous to write this digit in just yet. The other thing I did see when I was reading out the rules, this is always an interesting little tidbit when you have a black Kropki on a thermo. So we know in this instance we cannot ever have a 1-2 pair, because we'd have to have a 1 here, and then we have to have another 1 here and another 1 here. That doesn't work, even on a slow thermo, because of the Sudoku. This could technically be a 2, go up to a 4. Then we could have a 1-1. This could be 3, this could be 6. This cannot be a 4-8 pair because of the 8 looking at it. So no matter what we do, we're a pretty low digit down here. So this one can either be 1 or 2. And this one here can either be 1 or 2. Because we'd either have 3 going down to 2, and this could be 1 or 2 to continue, or it's a 2 with a 1-1 pair. Now, can we say anything about whether or not this can be a 1-1 pair? And maybe how does this whole interaction of these work with this guy over here? I think we can say this cannot be a 1-1 pair, and I think that's probably a good place to look. Because if this was a 1, we have a 1 here and we have a 1 here. So what does that mean? Well, it means in this region, none of these can be 1. So we'd be forced to put a 1 on this X clue, and therefore we'd have to put a 9 with it, but we already have a 9. So this can't be a 1. This is 2, which means this is 3, and this is 6. Now, this guy could be 6, 7, or 9. We have to remember not to forget about the slow thermo, because I've done that in the past where I would say, oh, this is 6, this has to be 7 or 9. But that's not the case in this situation. So let's make sure we don't do that. Again, the 2 here does not mean that this has to be a 1. It could be a 1 or a 2. Now, we do have something down here that we figured out because of all this other finagling, that we cannot have this be a 1-2, we cannot have it be a 2-4, and we cannot have it be a 3-6, so it must be a 4-8. That's the only possibilities that'll go in here now. And from that, does that help us on this row, or do we need to start delving into some of these other clues? Let's think about it. Well, we know we have to have a 9 in here somewhere, so the 9 has to go in one of these two. It can't go here, because it would have to be a 9-8 pair, and we already have a 9. But it does rule out a 9 here. So that's a decent little reduction, at least at this point. Now, the other digits that we need to use, I don't think we can do much with in this row just yet, because the 1 could go in any of these positions. Well, I guess the 1 can't go here, because if I put a 1 here, it forces... No, I was thinking about that wrong. My brain just stopped working there for a second. I thought I saw something where we couldn't put a 1 in one of these, but maybe that's not the case. So, but it doesn't really matter at this point, because we don't have enough to really move with it anyway. So again, we don't have any 5s, so we can't determine where a 5 could possibly go. And the 7, again, could go multiple places. So nothing more seems to be ticking here. That being the case, let's, I guess, look into here, because I think we have more information about what we can do here, and maybe, again, this VX combination might come into play. So let's put our options in here. Now, 6, 7, 8, 9, but we know this can't be 7 by Sudoku, so this can't be 3, and this can't be 2. Now, we also know we can't ever put a 9 on a black Kropki, because if you put a 9 on a black Kropki, you either have to have a 4.5 or an 18. Neither one works. Now, we can also say we can't have an 8 on this, so yeah, we are going to end up having this all sorted out, which is nice. I like how that works. This can't be an 8, because we'd be forced to put a 4 here, and we already have a 4, so this is 6. This is 3. We also could have just said it can't be 4-8, because it would have broken this one, but one way or the other, it's you know, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other type of situation. Now we know this has to be a 4, this has to be a 1, this is going to make these the 8 and the 4. Okay. Now, again, do we want to start looking at a row to see if there's anything of value to use? Or are we going to jump into these? Because I think we're going to have a little bit of work what we can do over here too. Now, in this row, I can say that there has to be a 3 on it, and it can't be here or here because of basic Sudoku, so there must be a 3 on one of these. While we could use that to determine that there's no 3, 6 here, we also already knew that essentially because they can't have a 6 in any one of these positions. So we also know there has to be a 6 up here. And clearly this one, we can't have both the 3 and the 6, so this has to either be a 3 or a 6. But I don't think we can go too much further on this where we're going to actually get some use, because if we have a 3 in here, we know it has to go with a 5 because we can't put a 4. But if we have a 6, it could go with a 5 or a 7, so there's way too many options sitting right there, I think. And a 3 with a, did I say 3 with, I meant 3 with a 2. I think I said 3 with a 5, which would be stupid. If it's a 3, it would have to be with a 2. Anyway, like I said, there's not much going on here, so I think we need to look here. Now, we know we can't have a 3, 6. So the possibilities are going to be 1, 2, 4, and 8, and this can't be 1 or 4, which means this can't be 8, this can't be 2, this can't be 4, because we would have to put a 6 here. We have a 6. This has to be a 1, 2 pair. This has to be a 9. And that's actually going to give us a 9 over here by Sudoku, so obviously none of these could be 9, so therefore this one must be. Now, we've got more information on some of these rows. We still do have a few more clues left, but I want to take another quick look at some rows to make sure there's nothing just sitting out there that's really obvious to pick up. So we need to be able to get a 5, a 7, and an 8 into these 3 digits, and none of those seem to be really ruled out. I mean, this one can't be 8, but that's a minor little tidbit there that I don't think is going to help us. So, all right, now we can rule out this as being a 3, though, because as we said, not 4 or 5, but it's either 2 or 3, and it can't, or 2 or 4, and it can't have a 4, and it can't have a 2 anymore. So this is not a 3. So 3 goes here. That means we do have a 6 here, but it could still be 5, 6, or 5, 7. And what's left over, we need to have a 2 in one of these guys, and there's nothing ruling that either, at least not yet. Okay. And I don't think we're going to get too much here at the moment, unless there's something of base Sudoku. There doesn't really seem to be. I mean, one of these has to be a 3, but that's pretty much all we can deduce out of that, I believe. So let's look at this 10 clue, because we actually do have some possibilities removed. So we know it can't be a 9-1, we know it can't be a 7-3, and we know it can't be a 6-4. So I think that means the only thing left over is a 2-8 pair. And sorry, I got distracted. I'm getting emails, of course, as I start filming. It almost always happens. But anyway, we can say that this can't be a 2. Because if this is a 2, this would have to be 1 and 1. So this has to be 8. This has to be 2. Now we are going to be able to place a 2 in here. And we are going to be able to place a 2 here. So we are left with, this is going to have to be a 6-7 pair now. And this has to be the 5. And this will have to be a 3. All right. That is getting us close to a place where we can kind of just run with our Sudoku, I think, but we're not quite there yet. What about these 3 guys? We need a 4. Okay, so we can do some more work here. And then these have to be from 5 and 8. Now we can't rule any of those out, but it's going to give us this digit, which has to be a 7. And we know what these digits have to be as well. They have to be 5 and 8, and we do actually have an 8 here, so let's put the 5 and the 8 in. Okay. Now what do we have left to work with? These two digits seem like they can be a ton of different things, so I don't think they're currently the point to jump in on this. So let's take a quick look at base Sudoku. See if we can glean anything from it. We know that one of these must be a 1 and it can't be this one, so this is a 1 because we have these two guys looking in. So that is our 1. None of these can be 1, so one of these is a 1. But we can't do too much with the rest of these ones, it doesn't seem. And we can say this can't be a 1 because it would force the 2 here, and we already have a 2, so one of these is a 1. If this was a 1, it still works with this being a 2, I believe. Let's look around some more, because we have plenty of digits out here. One of these must be a 2. Just trying to see if there's anything. Oh, that 2 right there is going to give us that 1. That's why I tend to go back to Sudoku sometimes to take a look at these things, because I can just miss them. Once the second I start highlighting things, it becomes much more apparent. Now this has to be a 1. And we are done with our 1s once we put these last 2 in, because none of these can be 1s, so that's 1 and that's a 1. Therefore, this is a 2, and that might just finish off our 2s. Nope. Maybe this is a 2. One of these, so we get an X-wing left of 2s at the moment. So let's continue down the line. So we're going to get a 3 here, because none of these can be 3, so one of these 2 must be. And then looking down, so none of these can be 3, so this is a 3. The 3 cannot be paired with a 2, because we already have one, so this is 4. This is a 3, just by base Sudoku. And we said that we've got these guys here as 3s. That's going to rule out all of those. So this is the final 3, other than our X-wing that we have up here. And we're going to be able to get a 4 down here. We're going to be able to get a 4 up here. There, I think we're going to be done with our 4s, yeah. It was all sorted out quite nicely. Now, let's take a look at this instead of continuing with the base Sudoku. Let's use a little bit of logic instead. Not that Sudoku isn't logic, but using the clues is kind of more of what I'm talking about. This has to either be 5, 6, or 7. It can't be 6. I was hoping that might do a bit more. Do we have anything in these columns? Because there's a couple of them that only have 2 digits left over. We need a 5 and a 7. So we end up getting a 5-7 pair here and in this column. So we're going to be given this digit of 6, which is going to give us this digit of, what is it, a 9, it appears to be? That is correct. We would have gotten there by Sudoku as well, but we can continue that trend actually, because this has to be 9 because of these here. And that might actually just, we might be able to just run with our 9s. Yeah, we can. That's a 9, and then looking back up here, this is a 9. Okay, I think we are pretty much just at Sudoku, so let's run through it again. 1s are done, 2s are in an X-wing, 3s are in an X-wing, 4s are done, 5s need a lot of help, but we don't have room for them at the moment, so let's look at 6s. Okay, we have, looking into this box 1, none of these can be 6s, and we already know that these 2 had to be 3s, so this is a 3-6 pair, which is going to give us this 2, and that 2 is going to finalize our 2s. Now, if we know this is a 3-6 pair, these have to be from 5 and 7. We have a 7 here, so let's put our 5 and 7 in. That 5 is going to break this guy up. We are going to know what these 2 are, because we only have 2 more digits left in this column. They are 7 and 8, and we have an 8. So there we go, 7 and 8, and that's going to break up our 5s and 7s all around our board. This is a given 5 because of the column. This is going to be a given 6. We're going to get both of these digits, which is going to give us this one, which is going to give us this one. So things are certainly working well here. This is going to be 6. What does this guy have to be? A 7. This has to be an 8. We couldn't quite finalize these guys yet, but we'll get there in a second because we have to get this guy, which has to be a 7. Therefore, we do get the 6 and the 7. This turns into it is a 6, so the Slow Thermo wins the day. This must be a 3, and we get the do in the corner. That 3 is going to finalize this, and we should be pretty much done with this. We just got 2 more digits to place, an 8 and a 7. There we go. Okay, that was a really fun, quick puzzle. It did require a little bit of logic just to get started in it and to actually just kind of put in some options, but at the end of the day, that was a lot of fun. As you can see, this has been out for about 9 days. I'm just getting around to it now. The storm, Helena certainly set me back a little bit. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that one. I certainly did. It was a nice, fun one to get, try to keep getting back into the swing of things. And I'll see you all next one. Thanks a lot.